remind you from last week, our goal is to get it to be factored. The idea, of course, is that if two things multiply and they equal 0, one of these two things must equal 0. And when you get 0, when you're multiplying, is to multiply by 0. So the question here is that, well, which one is 0? So the left side is already v, so that could equal 0. But then v minus 2 could also equal 0. So what minus 2 equals 0?
2.
Just 2. So our answers are 0 and 2. Meaning if you plugged in one of those answers for both, they give you 0. So there's a way that anytime you have an equation, you can check. That's the nice thing about these, is that you can check.
So every time you have an equation that says equal to 0, you have to do everything equal to 0 and see it again?
Yes. So we continue that on. Here we have two binomials. So it's a little more, but same idea. It's just basically what would you plug in here for this part to be 0? And go through and solve, add 3 to both sides, divide by 5,
3 over 5.
and leave it as the fraction. You'll notice I did write my answer, my final answer like this, so you should as well be 5/3, comma, and whatever the other answer is. It is possible for both numbers to be the same. In that case, you would just list one. But for most of these, I think almost all, if not all of them, are going to have two answers. So you know, sometimes you factor it, and the two factors are identical, like both x plus 1, x plus 1. So.
Isn't it 3 over 5?
It is 3 over 5, thank you. Good eye. Sometimes I can't walk and talk at the same time. There we go. So this is at its most basic, and this is what you're trying to get to on the rest of them. They're not factored yet. So you want to get to factor them, meaning it's multiplication. You can only solve when it's multiplication. When you get down to here, it's addition. You can't factor that, you can't solve it yet. Do the GCF, take out an x on both of them. Alright, now it looks like something above. Do the x when necessary. Add basement. Right, when there's no number in front, it's really fast. What two numbers multiply with negative 28? Add to negative 3. 7 and 4, which is positive, which is negative. Negative 7, positive 4. And don't forget this, equals 0. If it didn't have the equals 0, the direction would be factor. And then you just have to get these two and you'd be done. If it has equals 0, the directions will be solved. That's how you know when to do this. So on your quiz coming up, it'll ask you both. The factor and or to solve. Just know if it says factor, you don't have to do this. Only if it says solve, only if you see an equal sign. So you need to do this part. So what minus 7 is 0? Yeah, just 7. And what plus 4 is 0? And minus 4. And this over here, 7 and negative 4. It doesn't matter which order you put those in. When you get to higher math classes, there could be like 5 answers. It's nice to write at least the greatest. That way you can easily check to see if your answers match somebody else. But there's only 2 answers. It's pretty easy to see that, you know, regardless of order. Okay. And of course, we'll get down to more problems that have GCF. Just take those GCFs out first. That'll make your life so much easier. Go ahead and factor it. What multiplies to positive 6 adds to negative 5. What is it? -3, -2. Now you notice there's a GCF in the front, so just you can include that when you're solving. And that way you get your 2 answers. I'll let you figure out the other one. You got 2 and whatever else this equals. I think it's 3. I don't think when there's a number in front, it doesn't change it a whole lot. It's like the same thing as if it wasn't there. So we just get 3. If it's a variable, like above, then it's different. That just x equals 0. It doesn't just drop off. So it makes a difference if the GCF is a variable, like it was here, or it's just a constant, just a regular old number.
So what do you do with that number?
You can solve it like I did here. I mean, you could distribute the 2 to both and then solve it. It'll be the same thing as if you divide it by 2 and it cancels it out. So I just don't want you crossing it off, because if this is a variable, you do get an answer of 0. Okay, so if it gets to the point this is so boring and fast and easy, that's good. That means you're ready for it. You will need this the rest of the semester. It's something, factoring is every single lesson for the rest of the year. So we don't want to be kind of good at it. Sometimes get it right, or sometimes forget to factor out a GCF. We want to be perfect at this. Okay, good. Can you do more, or do you think we're ready? Okay. Now, keep walking around.